Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, scrolling through your phone, and seeing this headline: Niagara Falls has gone silent. No roaring water, no mist rising into the sky, just silence. 750,000 gallons of water cascade over Niagara Falls every single second. That's enough to fill an Olympic swimming pool in less than 4 seconds. But what if that suddenly stopped? What if one of nature's most powerful spectacles just disappeared? You might think this is impossible, but here's the terrifying part. It's already happened before, and it could happen again. Today, we're diving deep into a scenario that would change North America forever. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover will completely change how you see one of the world's most famous landmarks. Let me take you back to March 29, 1848. It was a cold spring night, and something extraordinary happened. Residents living near Niagara Falls woke up to an eerie silence. The thunderous roar that had been the soundtrack of their lives was gone. People rushed to the falls, and what they saw was unbelievable. The mighty Niagara had been reduced to a trickle. You could literally walk across the riverbed, and people did exactly that. They explored the rocky bottom, picking up artifacts, old weapons, and even human remains that had been hidden beneath the raging waters for centuries. For 30 hours, Niagara Falls was essentially dry. Churches held special services. Some people thought it was the end of the world. Others thought it was a sign from God. But the truth was actually more fascinating. An ice jam in Lake Erie had blocked the water flow. Massive chunks of ice had piled up so high that they created a natural dam, preventing water from reaching the falls. When the ice finally broke apart, the water came rushing back with a sound so loud that people could hear it from miles away. Fast forward to 1969, and humans intentionally stopped the American Falls for several months. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers built a temporary dam to study the rock face and assess erosion. During those months, millions of people came to witness something they'd never see again: a dry Niagara Falls. But what if it stopped permanently? What if it wasn't just ice or human intervention, but something far more catastrophic? To understand how Niagara Falls could stop, we need to understand where its water comes from. The falls sit between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, part of the massive Great Lakes system. This system contains 21% of the world's surface fresh water. That's 6 quadrillion gallons of water. So how could it possibly run dry? Scenario 1, climate change and evaporation. The Great Lakes are already experiencing dramatic changes. Water levels have fluctuated by several feet in recent years. Scientists warn that prolonged droughts combined with rising temperatures could dramatically reduce water levels. If Lake Erie's water level dropped by just 20 feet, the flow to Niagara Falls would be severely reduced. Drop it by 50 feet, and the falls could become a seasonal attraction, flowing only during spring melts. Scenario 2, a catastrophic earthquake. The Niagara region sits near several fault lines. A major earthquake could literally reshape the landscape. The rock face could collapse, creating new channels that divert water away from the falls. Or tectonic shifts could alter the elevation of Lake Erie, changing how water flows toward Lake Ontario. Scenario 3, Ice Jam 2.0. Remember, 1848. It could happen again, but worse. As climate change creates more extreme weather patterns, we're seeing unprecedented ice formations on the Great Lakes. A perfect storm of conditions could create an ice barrier so massive that it blocks water flow for weeks or even months. Scenario 4, human infrastructure failure. Here's something most people don't know. Humans already control much of Niagara's flow. During low tourist season, up to 75% of the water is diverted for hydroelectric power generation. We have the infrastructure to stop the falls right now. A cyber attack, a terrorist incident, or a catastrophic infrastructure failure could permanently alter or stop the water flow. Let's imagine it happens. You wake up and Niagara Falls has stopped. Here's what the first 48 hours would look like. Hour 1 to 6, confusion and viral sensation within minutes. Social media would explode. Videos of the silent falls would go viral instantly. News helicopters would circle overhead. Is it terrorism? An earthquake? Climate disaster? Conspiracy theories would spread faster than accurate information. Hour 6 to 24. Economic panic. Niagara Falls attracts over 30 million visitors every year. That's more than the Grand Canyon. The local economy depends almost entirely on tourism. Hotels, restaurants, tour operators, souvenir shops, they'd all be facing ruin within days. The stock market would react. Energy companies relying on Niagara's hydroelectric power would see their shares plummet. We're talking about nearly 5 million kilowatts of clean energy suddenly gone. Hour 24 to 48, environmental concerns scientists would rush to the scene. They'd be looking for answers, but also worried about immediate environmental impacts. The Niagara River ecosystem supports dozens of species. Fish populations would be in immediate danger. Birds that depend on the river's ecosystem would be displaced. Meanwhile, millions of people whose drinking water comes from this system would start to worry. Is the water supply safe? Is this permanent? The human element, but beyond the headlines and economics, think about the people. The boat captain who's been giving Maid of the Mist tours for 30 years, the family that runs the diner across from the falls started it in 1952. The young couple, who got engaged at Niagara just last week, are planning to return for their 50th anniversary. Their entire world would change overnight. If Niagara Falls stopped permanently, the ripple effects would reshape North America. Let me paint you a picture of what the world would look like 5, 10, 20 years down the line. The economic collapse, Niagara Falls, Ontario, and Niagara Falls, New York, are essentially on-industry towns. Take away the falls, and you're re-looking at an economic disaster comparable to what happened to Detroit when the auto industry collapsed. Property values would plummet. We're talking about a 60 to 70% decline within the first year. Thousands of businesses would close. Unemployment would skyrocket. You'd see a mass exodus as people search for work elsewhere. The Canadian and US governments would have to step in with massive aid packages. But can you really save a town whose only reason for existence has vanished? Energy crisis. Those hydroelectric plants I mentioned. They power over 3 million homes. Suddenly, millions of people would need alternative energy sources. In an era where we're trying to move away from fossil fuels, losing one of the largest clean energy sources in North America would be catastrophic. Energy prices would spike. Rolling blackouts would become common. The environmental impact of replacing that clean energy with fossil fuels would set back climate goals by decades. Environmental transformation, the Niagara River, wouldn't just stop being a tourist attraction. It would stop being a river as we know it. Without constant water flow, the ecosystem would completely transform. Wetlands would dry up, fish populations would collapse, birds would abandon their nesting sites, invasive species might take over. The gorge itself, carved by thousands of years of water erosion, would begin to change. Without water, different erosion patterns would emerge. But here's something fascinating. Nature always finds a way. New ecosystems would emerge. Scientists would have a unique opportunity to study how landscapes transform. It would be like watching evolution and fast forward. The cultural lost Niagara Falls isn't just a natural wonder. It's woven into our cultural fabric. It's where Superman proposed to Lois Lane. It's been in countless movies, songs, and photographs. It's where millions of couples have honeymooned for over a century. Lose Niagara Falls, and we lose a piece of our collective identity. Future generations would only know it from videos and pictures, the way we know about extinct animals or lost civilizations. Here's the question everyone would be asking. Could we restore Niagara Falls? The answer is complicated, but fascinating. Engineering solutions, if the cause was a temporary blockage, like an ice jam, engineers would work to clear it. Icebreakers, explosives, heat generators, we have the technology to break through ice barriers. If it were an earthquake or a geological shift, things would get more complex. We'd need to potentially reshape the landscape itself, dig new channels, use explosives to break through rock barriers, and even pump water if necessary. The cost? We're talking billions of dollars, maybe tens of billions. Is it worth it? That would be the debate of the decade, the artificial falls controversy. Here's a wild idea that would definitely be proposed. Make Niagara Falls entirely artificial. Use massive pumps to circulate water, creating a man-made waterfall. It sounds crazy, but we've done similar things before. Las Vegas has the Bellagio fountains. Dubai built entire islands. Why not an artificial Niagara Falls? Critics would argue it's not the same. It's not natural. It's a theme park version of a natural wonder. However, supporters would argue that it preserves jobs, maintains the ecosystem, and keeps the dream alive. The acceptance phase, eventually, society might have to accept a new reality. Perhaps Niagara Falls will become a historical site instead of an active natural wonder. Museums would be built. Virtual reality experiences would let people see the falls as they once were. Some would argue that its absence makes it more valuable. People would treasure old photographs and videos. The memory of Niagara Falls would become more powerful than the falls themselves. So, what if Niagara Falls suddenly stopped flowing? The answer is, everything would change. Economies would collapse and rebuild. Ecosystems would die and be reborn. Millions of lives would be disrupted. Cultural identity would shift. But here's what I find most profound about this thought experiment. Niagara Falls has been flowing for about 12,000 years, since the end of the last ice age. In geological terms, that's nothing. It's a baby. In fact, scientists estimate that even without human intervention or catastrophe, Niagara Falls will naturally cease to exist in about 20,000 years as erosion moves it further and further upstream. Everything is temporary. Even the most powerful forces of nature are just brief moments in Earth's timeline. So maybe the real question isn't what if Niagara Falls stopped, but rather, are we appreciating it while it's still here? The falls are flowing right now, this very second. 750,000 gallons of water crashing down with the force of nature itself. It's been doing that every second of every day for 12,000 years. But it won't last forever. Nothing does. If this video made you think differently about Niagara Falls or about impermanence in nature, let me know in the comments. Have you ever visited Niagara Falls? Would you go see it if you knew it might not be there in your lifetime? Hit that like button if you enjoyed this journey into the hypothetical. And subscribe because we explore fascinating what-if scenarios every week. Thanks for watching, and remember, appreciate the wonders around you. They won't be here forever.